Hello and welcome to BS Rugby, and the Lions squad has been announced. It's been announced, and what a moment it is for rugby here in the UK and Ireland and also across the world. Here is my reaction to the squad. We're going to go through some interesting names, the ones that I've missed out. We're going to have a chat about them. As always, if you're new here and looking forward to the Lions, hit the subscribe button down below. It's free to do and helps grow the channel. Leave a like and get your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm eager to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments down below. Right, let's get straight into it. This is the team that's been picked by Gatland. Let's go through it. If I agree with them, I'm just going to say yes to them, and we'll have a conversation about a few controversial ones. So Josh Adams is very obviously in there. Obviously has to go in, no doubt about that. Very happy with him. Bundyaki is the first one. Bundyaki is an interesting one. Let's be honest, not been in the greatest form of his life, but maybe against Africa he's looking for something a bit more physical. But there's a couple of centres who have missed out that we will get to shortly. But Bundyaki is an interesting one to put Bundyaki in there. What are your thoughts on him? Next up then, we have Dan Biggar for Wales. Dan Biggar, probably the form 10 at the minute in the British Isles, playing very, very well for Northampton, but also has played very well for Wales over the course of a successful Six Nations, so no problem with Biggar. Elia Daley is an interesting one. Don't think he played all that well for England, been playing for Savis, and that's an interesting point. There's a lot of Savis boys in here, so let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. They haven't played much rugby, but you can't deny their quality. So Elia Daley, I've got no problem with him being in the squad. I think he offers a lot of versatility in playing the centre player, fullback, and has a massive boot on him. That's the other thing. Let's keep going. Gareth Davis is the first scrum half on the list. I'm not particularly surprised by that at all. Playing for Scarlets, playing for Wales, knows Gatland very well. Farrell is in the squad. Let me know your thoughts on Owen Farrell. Played very well against Ealing a couple of weeks ago, but it is against Ealing in the Championship. Don't think he had a particularly good Six Nations, but he's a quality player. We know that. And I think the captaincy doesn't really suit him for England, if we're being honest. But I think for the Lions, he is a quality player. So be interested to see if he's the starting 10. I think it's between him and Biggar to be the starting 10s because there's a big name missing out, which we'll look at shortly. Chris Harris, centre for Scotland and for Gloucester. I thought he had a brilliant Six Nations for Scotland, so I have no problem with him. Robbie Henshaw, likewise for Ireland, probably the best centre in his position in the world. Can play 12 or 13 pretty comfortably. Hogg then is one of the fullbacks on the list. Again, not surprised by that at all. Been playing very well for Exeter. Captain for Scotland, one of the best fullbacks in the world. A great lid on his head as well. So, yeah, no problem with Hogg being in there. Let's move on to two scrum half options. The other scrum halves are Conor Murray and Ali Price. Of course, Ben Young's decided not to be in the squad. He's going to spend time with his family, which you have to respect. Conor Murray's got back into form a little bit, and Ali Price had a really good Six Nations for Scotland. Players to miss out there, maybe Thomas Williams misses out, you could say. He is one person that maybe could have been in there. Danny Kerr was rumoured to be in there as well, but he's not in there either. So interested to see that. Louis V. Summit is a Welsh winger. Of course, he's in there, had a brilliant Six Nations, played very well for Gloucester. Finn Russell is the 10 option. No surprise there, really. But let's talk about it. Sexton misses out. No Johnny Sexton. Thoughts on that? In my original squad, he was in there, but he's not in this squad. So let me know your thoughts on that. What are your thoughts? No Johnny Sexton in the squad. He's had a lot of injury issues over the last few years. We've got to be honest, especially this season. Maybe he just isn't fit, or maybe Gatland doesn't want to take the risk. Let me know your thoughts on Sexton. That's the big one, isn't it, to start with? We head over to another winger then. Duran van der Merwe had a fantastic Six Nations. So he's in. Anthony Watson in, can play across the back three alongside Liam Williams as well. So those are the backs. Let me know your thoughts on the backs. Let's move on to the forward, starting with Ty Byrne. Brilliant over the ball across the course of the Six Nations. I think he got the most turnovers over the course of the competition, and you've got to say he's a brilliant option at the line out as well. Been playing very well for Munster. Jack Conan from Leinster and Ireland, not played all that much for Ireland, but for Leinster has been really good ball carrier. So it's an interesting choice. Would I have put him in my squad? He probably wouldn't have crossed my mind. I don't think it'd have crossed many people's mind, but he is in there. Next up then, Luke Cowan Dickey, one of the hooker options, and you got to say, he's probably England's number one at the minute in the hooker position. So no surprise to see him there. Tom Curry's in there. Brilliant in the back row. That'll be an interesting battle. Let me know in the comments down below who would be your back row options? I'm fascinated to hear who would you pick. Xander Fagerson then is one of the props in there, another Scotsman, so a decent amount of Scots in this one. We were expecting more Scottish players, weren't we? Faletau at 8, probably going to start at 8, isn't he? He is absolutely world class. Furlong then in the front row. I mean, if you can step Finn Russell the way he did, then the guy's got to be in the team, hasn't he? He's been absolutely exceptional. Let's move on then. Jamie George is in there, probably second place to Luke Cowan. Dickey playing for Sarries. Now, I know I'm saying that a lot, but it does play into your mind. But we know he's a quality player. That's the thing with these Sarries boys. We know they're quality players. But the question is, have they played enough rugby? Ian Henderson is in there. Interesting choice to put him in there. Fascinated to see how he gets on. Johnny Hill then in the locks as well. A different choice, I'd say. Not starting for England regularly, but starting for Exeter. Exeter are the quality side. Itoje's next on the list. No surprise to see Itoje in there. He'd be my starting side alongside captain Alan Wynne-Jones. No surprise to see him in there either. There's absolutely no surprise with that. Wynne-Jones as a front row option had a brilliant Six Nations. Courtney Laws is an interesting one. Now, Gatland has taken Courtney Laws on a couple of tours, I believe it is now. And you have to say that he's a huge lad, isn't he? And this tour is going to be physical. It's going to be physical. It's going to be hard. It's going to be tiring. It's going to be difficult. But you've got to say, Courtney Laws is a fascinating choice. And that physicality, it's got to be for that physicality. I can't imagine it's for anything else. Doesn't start for England regularly. It's an interesting choice. Let me know your thoughts on Courtney Laws. Ken Owens is in there. Thought he had a very good Six Nations. Andrew Porter has the flexibility to play tight head or loose head. Sam Simmons is in the squad. Rumoured very heavily to be in there. Not really playing for England regularly, but for Exeter has been brilliant over the last couple of seasons, especially. Rory Sutherland as a prop option. Tipurick's in there as well. I thought he had a brilliant Six Nations, and maybe the last couple of years didn't have the best form, but recently has really been showing his quality. Mako Vunipola is an interesting one. Mako's a really interesting one. Really interesting one. Not sure on that one. And then we got the Mish. We've got Hamish Watson. He definitely isn't too small. So let's have a quick talk about some of the absentees. So the big absentees, you got to say Johnny Sexton, first of all. We mentioned him. Injuries, a big thing for him. We look at the centres. Jonathan Davis and Gary Ringrose on there. Foxy Jonathan Davis as a Welshman. Sad to not see him there, but he just hasn't been playing well enough, in my opinion. Ringrose is an odd one. I thought he had a very good Six Nations, but maybe he wants something a little bit more physical. And then who else is there? Let's have a think. Who else could be there that's missed out? I'm looking at that squad and I can't really think of who else I would have put in there. Maybe Thomas Williams, the scrum half, maybe would have had a shout. But on the whole, I'm pretty happy with that squad. But I'll be fascinated to know your thoughts in the comments down below. No Sexton is the big one for me. No Johnny Sexton, not at all in the squad. And no Jonathan Davis, no Gary Ringrose, no Josh Navidi as well. Josh Navidi is another big one. I'd have had him in my squad. But there we go. That's my reaction, my quick review to the Lions squad. There will be a podcast later out on the channel with my good friend Cal. We'll go into depth on the Lions tour and the squad itself and see who's been picked and why have they been picked. So make sure to subscribe for that. Leave a like on the video. Hit the notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you watching this one. And I'll see you soon here on BS Rugby. Here is the final squad.